What is people's experience of an organisation called Refugees at Home? Don't know who posed that question. What is people's experience of an organisation called Refugees at Home? Anyone like to answer that one?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Refugees at Home are a bit like Positive Action in Housing. For those of you who don't know, they're a Glaswegian organisation, Positive Action in Housing, and they run a hosting network around the entire UK. You tell them you've got a house, you register with them in Glasgow, and they will try and find somebody local to place with you. Refugees at Home are the same version, but down here somewhere. And the only reason I know of them is through NACOM, which is the National Accommodation Group. And NACOM are working with them to try and get a protocol for organisations down here to use. So it may not be working now, but it's something that might work in the future, and it's around hosting refused asylum seekers.
Yes, please, Emma.
Sorry, so can you clarify? Hosting refused asylum seekers, so it's not actually about refugees. It's refused asylum seekers.
That's my understanding, and the way it's been put to me is that you can host a refugee as well if somebody's in move on, and then they need a home.
Yeah.
But no, I think the way I read it, it's asylum seekers.
I only asked that question because we had some communication from them in Wigan the other day about a young man, and it all got very confused, and it seemed like they hadn't tapped into any of our networks, and now we sort of vaguely know each other, and I just wondered if anybody else had a similar experience.
Yes, please. Could comments come through the chair, please, so we don't have chaos, but yes, please.
Okay, I'm the National Refugee Coordinating Church of England. The Glasgow scheme is open to both. The new scheme, Refugee Home, is very much getting on the ground. My understanding from what contact I've had with them is that it will be for any refugee or asylum seeker in need of housing. So that explicitly excludes those who are on NAS support. So if they're supported, and they're in supported housing, you can't house them. If they're not for any reason supported, so if they're in move on or they're destitute, then you can. Some places in the country, so London, have a clergy hosting. Justice of London and the Archdiocese of Westminster co-do a clergy hosting scheme. So there are lots of schemes which come under this scheme, but the one that we're talking about is new. My understanding, having spoken to them once, is that it's move-on refugees and destitute asylum seekers, but they may have changed their policies.
Thank you. I've got two questions here about accommodation. Number one, what are people's experience of getting refugees into private rented accommodation? That's the first question. And then the second one's a little bit more difficult, controversial. Can the city council, whichever city council we're talking about, do anything about the appalling standard of Serco accommodation? So there's a two-header there, which I'd like somebody on the panel to at least start answering for us. Yes, please.
I can talk about it from a Knowsley perspective, Knowsley Council, with respect to Serco. When a property is identified by Serco, which they wish to procure for asylum seekers, in Knowsley, we have quite an extensive search for information about the property. The search includes a police check on the local area, so there been any hate crime, etc. What's the cohesion in the local area that the property is in? Is there a health centre near in walking distance to the property? What kind of schools are close to the property? Is there a reception in the event that the children that the asylum seekers might have are so young that they require reception? It's quite an extensive process that we look at from the perspective of the council. If we can't tick all the boxes in the process, we refuse Serco the opportunity to procure the property. So it's quite straightforward. It is really detailed, and there are more properties refused than actually agreed to.
Thank you, Paul. Any other comments from Ewan at the end, and then we'll come to you, Russia.
Just sometimes it's not the standard of a property that's bad, because the standards have got better. It's that people are put in inappropriate properties. So, for example, a man who just had extensive operations on his legs and had difficulty with mobility was put in a first floor flat. So at that point we would advocate, our first point of contact would be Serco and the housing managers. Our second point of contact would perhaps be migrant help, and you try and resolve things by going through those channels. If you can't get it resolved, or something's taking too long, well then you have to go a bit further, because the system is inept in the way it is. So actually, if we're looking at our job as asylum, we are there to advocate for people, and that's the way we would work. But yeah, in the first instance, with any housing problems, you would go back to Serco, managing agent, and then if it's not resolved, you go to migrant help, and then if it's not resolved, you take further steps.
Thank you, Ewan. Russia?
I mean, in regard of private accommodation, it's really hard to get people because the time is 28 days. How would you, if you're coming from a foreign country, you have no references, you have no guarantor, you don't have the money for 3 months in advance. So these are some of the challenges that people have to face. And I think mainly the most difficult one is the 28-day period, because it is too short. Because often the Home Office would send letters on a Friday, and then you have Saturday and Sunday off you can't, so always with the families I work with, all families get their letters on a Friday for some weird reason, we don't really know why.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Can you say who you are and where you're from?
Yes, my name's Ben. I work for Serco.
Nice to see you, Ben. Where's the parapet?
On the 28-day period which I just mentioned, we have approached the UKPI and asked them to stop sending the letters on a Friday, as like you said, it loses those 2 days. We've also done quite a lot of work with the different local authorities with this regional strategic migration partnership in developing a move-on pathway that sets expectations for service users, sets expectations for agencies dealing with service users, and sets both a process within Serco and within local authorities about how we manage the move-on process together. On to the more awkward question. I'm more than happy for anyone to contact me or anyone within Serco if there is issues with the quality of the properties, because obviously, as you can imagine, it's not nice to hear, it's not nice to live in, and as you all mentioned, you're not happy with some of the properties. So I'll share the Serco complaints feedback, I'll share my details, and also all our properties must be within the contractual obligations that we've got to the UKPI. So feel free to go to them directly via agencies or again come through me. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I'm Sharon Oakley, and I just wanted, we're a voluntary organisation and it supports asylum seekers who've been dispersed to Knowsley. And our experience, we've developed a really good relationship with the housing officer who works in Knowsley. And our experience with the accommodation isn't that it's been awful. I mean, I don't know what it's like in other areas and other dispersed areas, but a lot of the accommodation, we've done a lot of home visits as well, has been that it's been good quality accommodation. You've not seen this awful accommodation that people are talking about. And okay, maybe those people who are dispersed to Knowsley have been lucky. Also, as I say, we have a really good working relationship with the housing officer who works in Knowsley, who is very human and goes that extra mile with, any issues that come up, even if they're small issues, they'll deal with them.
Thank you. Emma, you had a few words of a similar nature from Wigan.
Yeah, I work for SWAT in Wigan, and sort of reiterate what you said. We are very welcoming to all Serco housing managers managers at swaps. I mean, they don't have a base, so they might come in to us for a brew, and there's always biscuits, and we find it adds the massive benefit for our clients of us having that, first name basis relationship with all the housing managers is huge, and I would just take a great word of warning in being adversarial with Serco. It's they're just trying to do their jobs really, and the same goes for the way we work with Wigan Council Housing, the way we work with the Ethnic Minority Achievement Service, that's the education. They actually have desks in our building at specific times of the week. They're there.
Thank you. Looks to me as though that's an area where there could be some sharing of experiences and practice between the boroughs. Okay, controversial question from my hockey playing friend in the front row there. Is St Helens part of the Liverpool City region? I think that's a subtle reference to the odd reference to Liverpool to the exclusion of other boroughs, but I suppose it's really about how we work better together. But
yeah, I'm sure it is. At times today I have felt that, and maybe people from those who accept and rural have felt the same as I do. Just telling us that the focus is very much on the city and maybe it ought to be broken down in a partnership between to assist people in other areas.
I think, well, we say, right, we agree with you. I think that would be one of the benefits of today if we can work forward. Yeah. Yes, Madam.
I can say this because I don't want you to get embarrassed. When I worked in Liverpool at hotels, and I was in London all the time, they've had this confidence. They are hard pressed, I think I've got to say, to cope with what's going on in Liverpool. So if it's some Liverpool focus, it's because suddenly, I know it's a suddenly Merseyside, they do work across Merseyside, but it's hard. It's hard for the asylum seekers who are in town to get into asylum in Merseyside because the distance involved. And I think the challenge is really, I have been spoken to you about this, so my vision would be, I would love to see satellite ALM offices across the Liverpool city. I think that'd be good because all that learning that they've taken from 2000, all that learning, because what I see time and time right across the country, not just in this condition, is people trying to reinvent the wheel and instead of taking the learning from the experts.
Okay. We try to be very careful to not put ourselves forward as the experts. We're part of a network. But anyway, Steve, you wanted to say a few words about that question?
When this conference was organised, it was only because Asylum Link Merseyside had got some money, won some money from the European Council. It was a policy decision by the people who planned it that it should be opened out and become a networking event. It's not that they're trying to keep the others out, it's really trying to do the opposite, trying to bring everybody in.
Thanks, Steve. Another simple question. I think it's a simple question. Oh, yes, please. Ellen. No, Abby. Sorry, Abby.
Third one down this way.
You moved.
Oh, probably. It happens. I'd just like to say on that point, I think, I know Emma's worked with us. I work with an organisation called Faces for Change. We've worked with Asylum Link Merseyside and Merseyside Refugee Support Network for the last 9 years, particularly around, sorry, should I shout loud? That's rare. Sorry, I was the gobby one at school. Not they didn't know, we've worked together for, as I say, for about 9 years around health and well-being, so the kind of beyond the essential services. We've done quite a lot of work in St Helens in recent times. I actually met with Kevin from Warm Welcome last week in St Helens, and I know that work is fledgling, but it's happening and it's growing. Similarly, Emma's worked with us in Skelmersdale. I was having a conversation with a lady from Ormskirk earlier today about that work, and that work really is using
The environment, so that's kind of food growing, seasonal food, cooking together, art space projects and things to bring people together in the community. So it's not casework and it's not the essential services, the housing, the schools and education and stuff. It's opportunities for local people to meet each other, to start that process of integration, however long somebody's here for. So quite happy to share any information we've picked up, whether it's local contacts in those areas, because I know that work's growing. And similarly in Sefton as well, we've been working with St Leonard's in Bootle, who are seeing a growing number of asylum seekers coming through their food banks on a Friday. So any contacts we've got, any information, projects and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to share kind of beyond. And similarly, I would say Knowsley on Northwood Estate in Kirby.
Thanks, Annie. And please don't forget, we're here till 4:30, so if you want to talk to people individually, that opportunity will be available. Ewan?
Yeah, I'm just going to say a few more things. Our social worker who's funded through the Red Cross Partnership is going out into the boroughs and seeing people and talking to social services, different universities and wherever he's needed. But you also have a Refugee Women Connect who are going out and have a presence in St Helens and in other places. And I don't know, Ellen, do you want to talk about the City Council's programme?
Yeah, so the Our Liverpool programme that was kind of talked about earlier, there are parts of that which are Liverpool City region, so would include kind of outside of Liverpool, including the Move On support service and also the employment service. So hopefully that will provide some additional kind of Move On support in the wider dispersed areas. And just on the last one as well, I just wanted to mention about the circle and properties. Obviously there is the normal circle routes to go down, but in terms of what the local authority can do, if there is a house which is really poor quality and you're not getting it solved through Serco, then there is environmental help, if appropriate, and landlord licensing as well. That in the local authority that might be able to do something. So that is a route that the local authority can support you if there is a really poor quality house.
Thank you, Ellen. Very quick question, which I think we can answer very quickly. Can primary school trained teachers teach ESOL without additional training? Yes.
It depends what you mean by teach there. I mean, it can help running ESOL classes to start to get people qualifications, right? In classes, in college, there you would want your teachers really to be ESOL trained. Lots of we have 25 volunteer English ESOL teachers at ALM. Many of them are primary literacy people, and it's wonderful what they do. It's absolutely wonderful. We do also have ESOL trained teachers there. We have secondary English teachers as well, a whole mixture. But what we were talking about today is having that informal work as well as the formal work. Let's welcome as many people as possible that want to help.
Yes, I think that was the message that Ian sent out when we were talking about caseworkers. Obviously, if we can get highly qualified people, great. But don't let that stop people learning on the job if they're enthusiastic. Yes, one there, and then...
As I understand it, on the community sponsorship scheme, there's a distinction between the formal English language, for which the Home Office guidelines suggest suitably qualified, which I understand to be either CELTA or Trinity qualified teachers, and there's the conversational English, which in our project many ex and current school teachers and university lecturers are participating in that. So I've spoken to the Northwest Strategic Regional who informed me that it was necessary for those undertaking the formal English language to be CELTA or Trinity qualified. However, I've since spoken to Sean at Caritas in Salford, who's actually had funding to train people to undertake formal teaching, and he assures me that that relatively short course was sufficient. The Home Office scene unclear. And so I suggest we all follow the Jesuit maxim, it's better to ask for forgiveness.
Thank you. Another question from, or another comment.
It's not a comment really. My course with Sean's team at Salford. So what happened was Salford Diocese put this ESOL course on, and it was on Tuesday nights over about 10 weeks, and it was linked to Trinity. So they had sign off from Trinity for the course. And really, I would really like to see something like that running in this area. Apart from anything else, getting from Ormskirk to Manchester at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday night is a nightmare. So, but it gave us as a parish, because we're on a community sponsorship scheme too, it gave us as a parish the confidence to say, yes, we have somebody who's ESOL qualified, we have amazingly good teachers who perhaps primary teachers, whatever, but we also, we've covered both angles of it now. And really, it would be really good to see something like that closer to home.
Just for the record, who are you and which parish are you from?
My name's Joan Bill and I'm from St Anne's Parish in Alston, which is in Lancashire, which is not part of the wider Liverpool area or Merseyside. So we're on the edge of this diocese and we're on the edge of Lancashire too, so we're a bit...
Thank you. One more.
Just very briefly on this week, in fact, yesterday, the RESET, which is a capacity building organisation for community sponsorship and resettlement of refugees, announced that community sponsorship, because community sponsorship teams are now going to have to provide the same ESOL provision as local authorities from the 1st of December, that money will be made available to widen that training. So the money is available, it's 1.2 million that the Home Office gave to RESET to build a capacity organisation. So it's specifically for training, and that's available across the country. I was network some tiny villages on export last month.
Thank you. No one? Okay, Bridie.
Can I also just mention the STAR programme, which we haven't mentioned at all today? What does STAR stand for?
Student Action for Refugees.
Student Action for Refugees. It's run through the universities. So on a Wednesday afternoon, a number of students come from Liverpool University and have conversation classes with our people. And they absolutely love it. You know, it's a wonderful afternoon. And I think that's something that I would try to encourage people to find out from their local universities. Do they have a branch of STAR? And can you get STAR working in your area? It's a real asset because it's real befriending as well as ESOL.
Okay, I've got 2 or 3 more questions in front of me. I just want to know if is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask the panel a question, please? Okay. Right, this one is, this is one of my favourites. How could the asylum seeker, is it your question? How could the asylum seeker process be remodelled to be more like the Syrian resettlement scheme? And that's a controversial one.
Rip it up. Start again. It's a political decision about asylum seekers and to treat people differently because they have a different status. We met with Keir Starmer about 2 years ago, before the Brexit nonsense kicked off, and he was the shadow minister for immigration at that time, and he said, what should we do? And we said, you should rip it up and start again. He said, what do you mean by that? We said, don't make it adversarial, don't make it face-to-face, prove it. Sit down next to somebody and make it inquisitorial. And not only that, let them work when they're doing it. There's the Lift the Ban coalition that Refugee Action had, which is gathering momentum, and it's actually making inroads into Parliament at a very good session a couple of weeks back. And that's about giving asylum seekers permission to work. In Europe, Britain takes the longest time to let people work. I think an example that was given was Canada. You can work after 1 day taking asylum in Canada. Lots of people wait 3 to 6 months, but Britain waits 12 months, and then it sticks you on a shortage occupation list, which for most asylum seekers is meaningless. They'll never get to work. If you think about work, it gives you dignity, it gives you self-respect, it generates income. It's actually all the things that the Home Office doesn't want to do. integrity rather than the system. And if there's one single thing that we could do, I don't know whether it makes it more like the city relocation program or not, but we should let people work. I remember back in the day when I got started, it was working with people on Job Centre Plus programs. We were desperate to get work, and desperate to get the language they wanted to work. When you tell somebody, no, you can't work, what you do is you basically tell them they're valueless. You've got nothing that we want, and then you keep them in poverty. And that's a dreadful thing. So we should let people work, and that way we won't need the Syrian system.
Can I just say something?
Please
as
do,
well?
yes, please do.
Well, being Syrian, I think I'm really embarrassed about what's going on now, because there is all the focus on the Syrian families, all the focus now on the Syrian war. And I work with refugees from all different nationalities, and I feel so nervous every time from somebody who is an asylum seeker who's been waiting for 12 years come through the door and ask me, why do the Syrians get their papers fast? And I think there is no straight answer to this. I think we have to all gather our courage and power and, sign petitions, talk to our MPs, and try to make a change, because as a Syrian, I think it's not fair.
So, yes, please.
So, I think part of the outlook program is to obviously use what little power the Liverpool has to actually help with that. In terms of, so now the refugee resettlement program and the kind of additional support for asylum seekers is coming under kind of the same team at the council, and a lot of the stuff involved in it, from health, education, housing, move on, that's going to be happening over the next 2 years, is to make it that when someone gets refugee status, that 28 days is easier and quicker. So there'll be somebody, especially kind of working and knowing about refugees in the housing department, so that people can hopefully get through housing options quicker, get a house quicker. So it's small steps, but the plan is to try and ease that process. Yeah, and there's also more ESOL and things like that, so it should hopefully help.
I'd just like to add to what you were saying, that I think work is, whether we like it or not, paid work is central to our lives. And we're defined quite often by what we do as a job. It's the second question people generally ask after your name, what do you do? And that generally means in our culture, what do you do for a living? And I think it gives us not only a certain status, which it clearly does in all sorts of ways, but I think it's also the opportunity for integration. Just that conversation in the workplace, just the same as being allowed into education, whatever that looks like, we're alongside other people. Surely those things are essential. That it goes back to your explanation of this whole language program. I think really it's that learning by doing rather than that kind of old school approach. I can't think of the right words. You had them earlier, but that kind of being alongside is crucial, in work and education and all those social spaces that we grow up with, that we expect as part of our ordinary lives, wherever we live. That needs to be afforded, and for me, I don't know if that's part of the Syrian programme or if it's enough of the Syrian programme. That should be available to everyone, regardless of whether they're here for a week, a year, or the rest of their lives. It shouldn't matter. That surely is a mark of civilization and a civilized society.
I'm not one for defending the Home Office, but I spend enough time at Luna House these days to tell you that we are kind of pushing at an open door. And if you want to about you, what happened on Friday with the announcement that Calfield was going to close, that's 40% of the detention stock, and that's a voting programme. Because they are looking at the German and Swedish method in terms of detention, and the Lift the Ban campaign has hit hard. We, when I say we, the Church of England, we're a Catholic Church, have together brought to their examples of work projects in Germany and Sweden. And so what they are looking at is a shorter period of full immersion ESOL, which has to be good. And if you get through that, then you get permission to work, as they do in Germany. So that's 3 months in the every psychologist that works with asylum seekers will tell you that. And finally, the Home Office is listening. And they're listening because it's all about punishment and contempt. We've done the spreadsheet. This is what it costs to keep an asylum seeker not working or in detention. This is what it costs to give them the housing and let them work. And actually, that spreadsheet has finally hit home. So there is good news.
Thank you. Right, just giving you warning now.
Very quickly ask Nadine a question on that. Are they looking at the kind of income levels that people have? Because immediately I'm thinking, okay, so if I'm on £5 a day and my ESOL provision, even if it's provided, is a bush ride away, there's my fiver gone, and that's my little Merseyside. If I lived in London, the cost of travel would be much more expensive.
What they're looking at is actually doing as they do in Germany, where they have the awfully named lager. I keep thinking the word concentration in front of it. But the camps are actually very good, is actually taking it into initial assessment hospitals.
Thank you. I want to move on, please. There's somebody down there, I'm told. Yes, please.
I just wanted to
Name.
Denise Cotter-Boyce. I've been a volunteer at Moran for some time. Also, the point about employment is it would be very naive to assume that anyone who is not allowed to work, that every single person who is not allowed to work isn't working. And so I would feel it is absolutely inevitable that a lot of asylum seekers are being horribly exploited in the pursuit of improving the lives of their family. And with women, obviously, that may even have really horrible connotations. So, and also that is undermining British workers as well. So it's a lose-lose situation. And British workers are undermined if asylum seekers are being given under-the-counter wages. So it would be better for everybody, not just in terms of dignity, but also in terms of finance, and also in terms of protection from exploitation.
Thank you. I'm going to go to the panel in a few minutes to ask them what their ideas are for ways forward. The third objective of today was to develop further the network of support. Yeah? So I'm going to come to you and ask your opinions, but before that I'm going to open it to the audience. People have listened, we've had a wonderful day, had tremendous ideas and debates. What should we be doing as a group, if anything, to enhance the provision for our asylum seeker friends? Yes, Anne. Vote for the right people and get into Parliament.
Don't tell them naive about government and why secretaries of state are one policy.
Yes.
Ask for more free stuff.
Ask for more.
Free stuff.
Right.
Ask for more questions.
All right. Okay. Anyone else? Well, we'll start. Go on then, Anne. Please.
I chair a community resettlement program in parish in Liverpool, and so I think most of us around this table do. And we've come into this from other areas and other spheres, and nothing to do with asylum or refugee or professional background. And just as an observation from today, apart from the fact it's been a wonderful day, there are just so many organisations doing everything in our local area. It's very difficult for the likes of us, inexperienced people, to get heads around all the organisations for us.
So how do we help ourselves do that better?
Have some sort of directory. Is there a directory? How do we know?
I'll come to you about the directorate, Steve.
One of the bees in my bonnet is that every town that gets an asylum seeker in starts from the beginning. What we need, I think we need more events like this where people can be brought together because they're not in the big city, but they have an interest in it, and the process can be explained, and we can learn from each other. I think because there's such a lot of knowledge around, but it's in little silos. We need to take the lid off the silo and let it out. And I really think we ought to congratulate ALN on the generosity they've shown today.
Thank you for that. Garrick?
On this table, we had a conversation about networking, and we've talked to everybody around the table to just find out what they're actually doing. I guess each table will do the same. But when we leave today, we have contact from each other. where we can share information. And I think that's crucial. It may be that ALM may want to think about maybe an annual networking event just to keep networking together. I don't know, maybe something you think about. But we don't want to lose all this good stuff in this room. And there's some good practices that can be shared across other parts of the region. I know, we talk about city region and everything's concentrated in Liverpool City. But there's no reason why we can't share that good practice outside other areas.
Yeah.
Even if it means going and spend a day in those places and take some of our asylum seekers in those places. Because I know outside you don't see a lot of diversity in those regions. But it may be that we have to take people along and present the diversity to those communities.
And you speak as somebody from the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, I said I was going to come to the panel. I don't know who would like to start. Paul?
Yeah, I think what everybody who's here needs to consider is, depending on which local authority you're from, every local authority has what's termed as a multi-agency forum for refugees and asylum seekers. The local authority, they actually manage that forum. I manage the one in Knowsley. Yeah, I chair the one in Knowsley. And people who attend it are from the public and the voluntary sector. Anybody who has any kind of service that might need to be delivered to an asylum seeker or a refugee for that matter, or in this particular instance to asylum seekers. Those meetings can be in some instances can be quite tense, as Ben will tell you from Circle, because it's the opportunity for those who attend to hold them to account, but it's also the opportunity for them to actually rectify any issues or problems that might be occurring. So when you go back to whatever you're going back to, whether or not you're friends with Circle, go to the multi-agency forum, because that's the opportunity where you can get stuff done.
Thank you, Paul. Ellen?
Yeah, I think probably going forward, it's maybe about connecting up all the little activities we're doing that get people a chance to be welcomed into communities and meet their neighbours, and try and make sure that when events like that happening, that everyone else knows, that we can kind of learn best practice, but also help get each other get funding and things like that. And I guess the second thing I think is there's a real need for more legal support in Liverpool. I think it's really hard to get legal aid and solicitors and get the time of solicitors that you need. And I think maybe if anyone knows kind of solicitors or law firms and that can do pro bono work, I think that there's a real need for that, and that might get people through the asylum process a bit faster. So yeah.
Thank you, Ellen. Second week in place, you said, did you?
Well, more than that.
Okay, thanks. Russia.
Yeah. I mean, I have lots of ideas about the way forward. Being a refugee myself and working with refugees for many years, I think we have to start thinking about names, really. I mean, I came to this conference thinking, oh, it's lovely to get people together, but I still feel like a stranger. I'm still called a stranger, and I think this is the way forward, I think, for us as people who are interested in change in general, is to think about the language we use. Because if you name people a stranger and make them feel like a stranger, they will never integrate. The other thing we really need to change is our attitude towards doing. In terms, I know a lot of friends and a lot of people around me, we work together, colleagues, who would really like to do something. And for years and years and years, they are saying, oh, we would love to do something. Oh, well, you said that 5 years ago. And since, how do we really get the chance to do something is by going to places. I hope, places like Asylum Link are open to the general public for visits, if visits are arranged beforehand. And, try to reach out to people rather, than just consider them as strangers. And I think there is a lot to do with write to your MPs about issues like, right to work for asylum seekers, people, the waiting list in the Home Office could be between 3 months and 12 years, so that is unfair in any means. So try to do something practical, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasha. Annie?
Just obviously echoing the sentiment of what's already been said. I think to take away this English toolkit and to be able to use it, to take the time to read through it and think, how can we use this, whether in a parish setting, whether in an organisational setting, because actually that is the doing, isn't it? It is that conversation, it is the changing the language, but it's first and foremost understanding how we relate, how we kind of engage with each other. And I think it's just going back in my brain to that first exercise we did, thinking, not only does that not look recognisable, I don't even know where to start. Do I start at the bottom right? Do I start at the top left? So actually, the information in your toolkit, which is where we started really, I think would be really useful, and to take that time to absorb that.
Can I just say that with that in mind, we are willing to run some workshops in the new year if people are interested, where we will look in a little bit more depth at that material. So, if people, again on the forms, if you want to mention that you'd be interested, please put your name on the form. And if we have enough people that are interested, we will do that. Probably at a sign and maybe get them in the big room and sign and make, if people are interested.
The only other thing I'd give a quick plug for Merseyside Refugee Support Network, come to the guide, but you know, it is a network. I'm sure the links will go out with all the information. You can join them.
Thank you, and
It's a
last
good way to share information.
Thank you, Annie. Ewan?
Just to get on, you'll find all the contact details in the slides when I send them out, so Paul's email is there, along with all the other email addresses that you will find useful. Again, the Merseyside Refugee Support Network has been in existence since about 2000 in different forms. It runs a news group, and it also has a service directory, which is not perfect, but it'll get you going. So if you email Shauna at merseysidenetworkforchange.org, you can sign up to the news group, and then you'll get, it's not a huge amount of emails, it's 2 or 3 per month, so it's not onerous, but it starts to tie you into things. Once you start looking and you want to look further, and you look at the crisis group, and you look at Refugee Action's website, Refugee Council's website, the digest, it's interesting. You find it interesting. It's not all horror, there's some great stories. But it's the highs and the lows of the asylum thing that actually keep you engaged. But it's also about, Wally was, our senior caseworker, was talking about this the other week. It actually makes you happier because you've helped somebody. And you should think about going away from here, being happy and helping others to be happy, because that's what it's all about. We're not just dealing with asylum seekers and refugees, we're dealing with happiness. That's our business. When you think about happiness, it all falls into place.
Thank you. Thank you all the panel for your contributions, and thank you for the floor for the questions you asked. We're now moving on towards the end, and Frank, I believe you're going to come up here and say a few words, so thank you.